coffee. It is the John and Ken Show. John Cobalt, Ken Champo, Labor Day 2017, KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Deborah Mark with the news. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. It is the John and Ken Show for Labor Day 2017. John Cobalt, Ken Champo. And the South Korean Military Intelligence Agency is saying that they are anticipating North Korea to do another ballistic missile test, possibly in the next few hours. This comes on the heels of the H-bomb test. As most experts are agreeing, whatever it was bigger than an A-bomb, and even if it was not quite an H-bomb, it was still it was big AF. Call it an AF bomb. It was a darn big bomb. It was a factor of 10 larger than last year's 5.1 on the Richter scale bomb that the North Koreans tested, though at this point they're not testing as much as validating. And just for some historic context, the Chinese in the early 60s did 5 A-bomb tests. Their 6th test was an H-bomb, a hydrogen bomb. And so this is not in any way technically unfeasible or out of the norm. The yesterday, Defense Secretary, who I like to call President Mattis, came out and made, he called a hasty press conference after a hasty national security meeting and didn't really leave a lot of gray area. This is Secretary of Defense James Mattis with the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dunford, right behind him in uniform. Hey,
we had a small group national security meeting today with the President and the Vice President about the latest provocation on the Korean Peninsula. We have many military options, and the President wanted to be briefed on each one of them. We made clear that we have the ability to defend ourselves and our allies, South Korea and Japan, from any attack, and our commitments among the allies are ironclad. Any threat to the United States or its territories, including Guam, or our allies, will be met with a massive military response.
Now, words have meanings. Pay attention to what he said. He said a threat, not any act, but a threat to American territory, including Guam, which is still, as of this week, part of the United States.
Territories, including Guam, or our allies, will be met with a massive...
Oh, wait, I screwed that up. Let me rewind to threat.
Allies are ironclad. Any threat to the United States or its territories, including Guam, or our allies, will be met with a massive military response, a response both effective and overwhelming. Kim Jong-un should take heed of the United Nations Security Council's unified voice. All members unanimously agreed on the threat North Korea poses, and they remain unanimous in their commitment to the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Because we are not looking to the total annihilation of a country, namely North Korea. But as I said, we have many options to do so. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
And then he reached out, grabbed the microphone, and dropped it. Actually, he acted like he was pulling a pin, and he threw it at the press assembled. Meanwhile, in North Korea, the announcement of what they called a successful test of an H-bomb was made by that woman wearing the pink dress in a expletive-lace announcement.
광명성 3호 2호기 위성 발사 성공. 12월 10일 평안북도 철산군 위성 발사장에서 운반 로켓 은하 3을 통한 2호기 위성의 발사가 성공했습니다.
Wow. So the peninsula is on edge after this, and so more will be coming out of the White House here in the next few days, and the North Koreans appear to be doing their negotiating by missile launches. And last week's, when they fired a missile over Japan, that was a negotiation as far as they were concerned. They were seeing what Japan and the U.S. would do. They got their answer. The answer was nothing. And so the H-bomb test happened on Saturday, our time. Remember now, noon North Korea time, noon and 1 second. It was 12 p.m. and 1 second when the blast was registered by Richter scales around the region. And then about 10 minutes after the 6.3 blast was registered, a 4.7 earthquake happened. And what was initially supposed to be, supposedly the theory was, it's a follow-up nuclear test. Turned out it was a cave-in, that the H-bomb voided out a section of Earth so big, or it initiated a seismic shift that would have happened anyway, but it created a 4.7 on the Richter scale 10 minutes later, and it turned out to be just that, just a cave-in. So anyway, bigger and bigger stakes happening there on the Korean Peninsula, and there is not really a heck of a lot of optimism that this winds down into a group hug between North Korea, the U.S., Japan, South Korea, and everybody else. And when Russia and China start to void their bowels, like the Russians have quietly done and the Chinese not so quietly have done, because they were affected by this. The Chinese felt it as an earthquake. The Russians felt it in Vladivostok. The cave-in terrified the Chinese because they thought maybe the Koreans have not dug this thing deep enough and created, instead of a void, they created a crater, which would then disgorge all this fallout. Well, the prevailing winds don't go from the Sea of Japan to Japan. They go from the Sea of Japan to China. So the Chinese don't want a Chernobyl dropping all over themselves. So the Chinese, like it or not, are a part of this. All right, when we come back, we'll talk labor in 2017 and a little more on Supervisor Jane Kim in San Francisco, who wants to tax robots. So will there be a tax-free robot haven? We'll see. And we'll talk to a local entrepreneur right after this on the John and Ken Show. Brian Sue's filling in KFI AM640. More stimulating talk. Deborah Mark with news. The John and Ken Show. John Cobell, Ken Champeau, Labor Day 2017. In here till 6 o'clock. Then Mark Thompson is in for Tim Conway, and we'll talk to him here at the top of the hour. And then I'll stick around and talk with him about North Korea. And by the way, you're wondering, how does North Korea make their money? And producer Nick and I were looking at this. But I've known this for years. That North Korea's, the only thing that they export are counterfeited $20 bills and meth. But they have actually expanded into hacking banks and Viagra. And so if your prescriptions seem a little cheaper than normal, it's because there are unscrupulous factories in India that will contract out to North Korea to make drugs that are basically 10% of the active ingredient. And then that comes down the line as Viagra. However, the meth is full strength, baby. Most of Asia's meth is made in North Korea. So there is that. Guy in Rancho Cucamonga came home late last night, and the burglar who had left the front door open shot at him from in the guy's house, shot out at the man. Man goes to his car and guns up, because in California you can have a locked, unloaded gun, a handgun in your car, and the ammo stored separately. And the guy puts A and B together, goes back, and he fires back at the burglar, probably doing nothing but airing out his own drywall. Police set up a perimeter, sent in a robot, didn't find the burglar. Guy probably hauled ass. Anyway, 11,600 block of Brindisi Way in Rancho Cucamonga. He didn't get a description of the burglar, but it is legal to actually, believe it or not, in California, it is legal to shoot back at someone who is shooting at you. All right, well, for Labor Day 2017, let's bring in a local laborer who is being paid for her labor for several jobs, and perhaps is even expanding into new territories. So, local laborer, what's your name?
Reagan.
And tell me, what are your jobs?
Well, my first job is letting the chickens out in the morning, making sure they have food and water, and opening the coop part, because we close that at night because we have 2 chickens that get bullied by other chickens.
Bullied chickens. So your jobs are to go out to the barn, open the barn, let the chickens out, and then make sure that the 2 chickens don't get bullied.
Yes, because there's a rooster that pecks at them, and it's not good.
Not good. So is this a skill that you've learned over time, or do you think anyone could just jump in there and do it?
Well, if you're more used to chickens, it's easier, but I don't think you can jump in there and just do it.
Would you say that the chickens are afraid of strangers? Are they used to you? Is the value that you bring that the birds know you versus a stranger?
Yes, there's some chickens that I can just pick up and they don't fight. But most of the chickens, you can still pick them up at night, but you can't just pick them up.
Now, how much are you charging? Because it sounds like something that not anyone can do, and so you could probably name your price. How much are you being paid to do this?
Well, I'm paying $1, but not just for that chore that I'm doing. I soak the dog.
Pass this on to you. Piers Morgan, who, like for 2017, Brian, could a robot walk up to one of your chickens and say, "Hello, Tiger Lily, poop out an egg"?
No.
So you have something that no one else has, and you're giving it away. You need to hold out for more money.
I was going to say Reagan needs a raise.
She sold herself to me, whoever this
absolutely
soulless employer is.
Her boss.
$1 a day?
Right?
And you know what? For $1 a day, you're getting 13 eggs?
I know.
Seriously?
No.
Anyway.
Labor laws.
We sell the eggs for $10 a dozen, but some people insist on doing like 15 eggs a dozen.
And well, you know what we say when people want to give you money?
Yeah.
You don't say no.
No.
All right. Well, local California farm worker. Again, your name?
Reagan Suits.
That's an astounding story. I'm humbled by it on this Labor Day 2017, and I welcome you to the workforce. May you have a long and prosperous life.
You too.
Thank you. All right, that is our labor break for 2017. Brian Suits in here for John and Ken, John Coble, Ken Champo. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. Deborah Mark with the news. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. The John and Ken Show. John Coble, Ken Champo. Back tomorrow. Brian Suits filling in. Piers Morgan, since it's Labor Day 2017, I just thought labor. I thought I would just pass this on to you. Piers Morgan, who luckily is back in Britain, he just tweeted this out. I guess about a day ago. Update. I guess he had a bike accident or something. He said, "I'll be co-hosting Good Morning Britain tomorrow with 3 broken ribs. For the more fragile snowflakes among you, this is called manning up." And the conservative writer Seth Mandel, his wife Bethany, she replied to him, "Well, I had a 9-pound baby on the side of the highway. Tough guy." So, up in the Bay Area, not only are they looking into taxing robots, but classifying Antifa as a street gang, when it's really more of a political terrorist organization. But there's probably more statutes in the books in California that can make you, that can allow you to enjoin a street gang. Not long after dozens of black hooded protesters, that's LA Times, they never do actual 5 Ws. Antifa is no different than a street gang, and police should start treating protesters in the anti-fascist movement accordingly, said Berkeley Mayor Jesse Arreguin. He made clear his disgust for the self-stylized vigilantes. Little problem, though. The mayor of Berkeley has joined the Antifa Facebook groups, and the internet's forever, screenshots, et cetera, as forces on the extremes of the nation's ever-widening political divide continued to battle with fists and weapons. Anyway, yeah, they're a street gang. If the Nazis are being group identified as political violence, and they ought to be, then yeah, Antifa should be the same. And the irony of being anti-fascist and being so anti-fascist that you wear uniforms and bring sticks and beat up people who disagree with you is certainly not lost on me, but it's lost on them. Mark Thompson.
I love all the Suits talk.
Good
I
Thompson
love it.
or evil Thompson?
Well, there is only a good Thompson. You're the one with 2 sides. I only have a good side. Now,
flip the coin.
As it turned out, you have a good side. I never knew this, but I was delighted to hear your daughter.
My progeny?
Absolutely delightful.
That was a California worker. That's who that was.
Well, she's certainly making more than most California workers.
She represents California workers.
She was delightful and is delightful. I see her in the other room, and she's just adorable. And so it's great to see that's the complete Suits picture.
She's the mother of chickens.
Yes.
You know what we thought of? She and I came up with this, and my wife poo-poos this totally. But we want to go buy a bunch of Godzillas, and we want to take the arms off and put coat hanger wire from arm to arm and make a U, and then strap them over the chickens. Because when the chickens run, they look just like the raptors in Jurassic Park.
Oh, of course.
It's amazing. Like if I shot it in slow motion, when they run, they put their heads down and they go left leg, right leg. It's amazing. We laugh about it because they look like dinosaurs. It's crazy.
Well, I need you to hang out after 6 o'clock, if you would, for just one segment. We were reviewing the situation in North Korea. You talked with Handel the other day, and I had some questions. I was wishing that I'd been in the studio with you when you were talking to Bill, and I know you have thoughts and you can break it all down, and I know you have broken it down a bit today, so you'll do it one more time for us after 6 o'clock. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to today.
Of course.
Yes.
And then I forgot, are you capital V vegan, like you don't eat eggs?
Yeah, I don't eat eggs, sorry.
No, okay,
Yeah.
but the chickens want to get rid of that egg.
Yeah.
There's nothing, like our chickens, they can't wait at 9 a.m. They just got to get rid of the thing and go back to eating bugs.
No, I will say that on the spectrum of stuff that happens to animals or consuming animals, that certainly, there's not, when you're talking about the kind of chickens.
They have names.
No, those are your chickens, but the egg industry is a different deal. That's why.
I know. That's why. Yeah, when I saw the way eggs are actually yielded, that's where when our chickens on 27 chickens on 11 acres.
Yeah, no, they've got a great
and they're
deal.
running around, and there's 3 dogs guarding them.
No, that's delightful. I mean,
and
that's
all that.
good.
No, if I brought you, and we have blue eggs.
Now, what's the story on that? Why are they blue?
It's a chicken called Americana, and it lays a blue egg. And the yolk is bright yellow. It's amazing. If I brought you some, would you give it a shot?
I pretty much don't eat eggs.
Or are you out?
I know. I'm sorry, but let me just say this: I appreciate the spirit with which you'd even ask and offer. So thank you.
And you know what? Yeah, those kind of like store eggs taste really weird to me now. I cannot have a McMuffin, or I can't go to Denny's anymore and order an omelet. It has to be one of ours. It's such a rich taste, and also because of the fact that all the chickens have a name. And
I love that too. Really, this is a great side of Brian Suits.
We have 2 turkeys. One is named Erdogan, President Turkey, and the other one is named Jive.
That is great.
Actually, its name's Snow Spirit, but Snow Spirit is a Jive turkey.
Will they live long, natural lives?
They will.
Oh,
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. Thank you for hanging out for a few minutes after 6.
My big white cock is about 10 years old, and he's probably going to go another 5, maybe 10 years.
No, that's great.
Very healthy.
All right.
Very upright. All right, I'll be back in just a minute with Mark Thompson, who's in for Tim Conway Jr. Ding dong, everybody. John and Ken Show. They'll be back tomorrow. Brian Suits out. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Labor Day 2017, KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk, the John and Ken Show, John Cobalt, Ken Jambo, talking about labor. And Serena Williams had hers on, what's that, Friday, Deborah Mark? She had a child.
Yes, she did.
A daughter?
She had a little,
was it?
I think it was a girl, yes.
I don't know. And she went through it like a champ, I'm sure. For she is a finely honed knife of an athlete, and so congratulations to them. Did it happen here in L.A.?
Okay, she did have a girl.
She resides here.
Let's see. Let me see.
Don't she?
Let me see.
I mean, I thought they did. Venus got in the accident on the East Coast because they're really rich. And they can have a house over there and stuff. Because why wouldn't you?
West Palm Beach.
Oh, really? Everybody is moving to the tax-free paradise that is Florida. All the athletes.
6 pounds, 13 ounces, in case you want to know.
Which is not big, not small. Kind of average.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And was it a long, do we know? Was it a trial?
I don't know. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kate, what's her name?
Kate Middleton.
The Princess of Wales is taking a little time off for morning sickness with her 3rd kid. I thought by the 3rd kid, you don't, it's not that big of a deal.
I have 2 kids, and each time, and I have a boy and a girl, each time horrendous morning sickness. So I'm sure if I had it.
The whole thing?
12 weeks.
Oh, first 12 weeks.
12 weeks, and then I'm fine.
And then I don't know if our OBGYN was the one guy who would say this, but isn't kind of the conventional wisdom that the hard